Kodiak Island in southern Alaska, home to the largest brown bears in the world. Every year, bear season draws crowds of hunters. Mike is a bear hunting guide, earning commission by teaching skills. But when tourists cancel, his income drops hard. To make a living, he switches to hunting fox. On the island, some fox grow large with high-quality fur, highly valued by collectors, worth 3 times a normal fox. When the tide goes out, fox come to the beach to feed. After watching for a while, Mike spots a silver fox coming out of the woods. He raises his rifle, aiming for a clean one shot at about 100 meters. But when the gun fires, he misses. As the fox runs, he shoots again and still misses. In the end, he can only watch it escape. Mike regrets it and moves to a new spot. On the way, he finds a fresh line of tracks. Knowing fox are crafty, he decides to ambush. Chasing rarely works. Ambush is better. Mike cuts brush and builds a small barrier. Since fox are low to the ground, they can't see what's behind it. Then he uses a call to mimic a wounded rabbit. The desperate sound cuts through the quiet wild like a death song, drawing fox in from far away. After one round of calling, a fox appears in sight. He keeps calling harder. The fox runs closer. But suddenly it stops, sensing danger. Mike won't waste this chance. He adjusts and fires clean. The fox drops, hit, then crawls into brush. Mike checks and sees blood on the snow. He follows the trail step by step and finds it dead. A beautiful silver fox. He grabs it by the neck, pulls it out, and throws it down, ties one back leg and hangs it from a tree. Daylight is fading, so he skins it fast. His hands move smooth and skilled. Soon the hide comes off clean, $200 in the bag. Then Mike heads back happy, but his hunt is not over. The next day he gears up again, aiming to stock meat for winter. When it comes to Alaska food, mountain goat is top tier, but they live on steep rock cliffs almost impossible to reach. So Mike rents a small plane. Peter is a seasoned pilot. After loading supplies, they take off. After hours flying, they arrive. Peter will return in 3 days. No matter what, Mike must be back on time. He heads into the woods, finds a clearing to set camp, rest one night, then hunt at first light. Mike clears the ground and starts putting up his tent. Before long, a simple shelter is set up. He goes to a nearby creek, fills a bottle of water, then cooks dinner by the bank. It's his homemade pasta. While it cooks, he uses binoculars to scan the mountains across the way, looking for mountain goats, but he sees nothing. When the pasta is done, Mike eats a solid meal. Next day, when the first sunlight shows, everything starts moving. A busy day begins, and Hunter Mike is no exception. Today, he keeps searching for those unpredictable goats, but still no sign. Now the only option is to climb the mountain to close the distance. Mountain goats are some of the hardest to hunt. But just thinking about climbing that steep, snowy slope gives Mike a headache. He grinds his way up step by step. Each footprint stamps clear in the snow, leaving a human trail in the wild. Halfway up, he rests and scans around. Luck shows up. A few goats appear on the ridge. To reach them, Mike keeps moving. Before he nears the top, he switches to a white jacket and wears a goat head-style hat to throw them off. He creeps up, and one goat looks over, curious. The moment he lifts his rifle, it gets alert and moves off. Night is coming, so today is no longer good for hunting. He has to head back before dark, and now it's already early morning the next day. Mike returns to the snowy mountain, and luck is still with him. A few goats show up right in his view. He watches the herd's movement and figures in about 15 minutes they'll be in range. So he lays flat and waits. This is a test of patience. His breathing slows and steadies. He blends into the land around him. When the moment is right, the lead goat steps into view, big and strong. Mike stays perfectly still as the herd walks out calmly. He picks a clean target that stops at the right spot. The chance is there. Mike fires, the goat bolts in pain, but the wound is too heavy and it drops. Mike walks in. The others are already gone. It's a young male with tender meat, a perfect harvest, and taking it won't hurt the herd's breeding. Mike grabs the goat's head, shakes it a few times to drain the blood, then starts butchering. This goat gives about 50 pounds of meat, enough to carry him through a long winter. He sorts and packs the meat into his pack and straps the hide and head on the outside, making sure nothing goes to waste. Then he starts the trip back. People say going up is easy, going down is hard, especially with a heavy load. One slip and you're done. So Mike is forced to slow down. At first it goes smooth, but soon he hits a cliff. As the light fades, there's no way back. Mike ties a rope to a small tree as an anchor, then lowers himself down slowly. With deep experience, he lands safe. He pulls the rope back up and looks behind him, still feeling shaken. Luckily, the rest of the route has no more danger, closing out this hunt the right way. Some time passes. Mike puts all his focus back on his main work. Today the surf is rough, and it has him worried. A 35-foot aluminum fishing boat, normally used for fishing or crabbing, sits battered. When he gets there, good news, the boat is still there, but it's been smashed by the waves. He checks it and finds both engines are totally ruined. The inside is flooded with seawater. All the wiring is a tangled mess. It's a sudden disaster. Mike feels his blood pressure spike. With bear season coming soon, he can't afford to waste time, so he decides to move the boat closer to Lake Che. There's a drain hole at the stern. Mike clears it with a shovel and opens the valve. Seawater pours out fast. That's a good sign. It means the rest of the hull hasn't been soaking. After the water drains, he gets ready to swing the boat around, so when the tide comes in, it can float, then he can tow it toward the lake. To change its angle, he keeps shoving float bags under the hull. Hot lift helps the boat shift slowly with the swell until the bow points back toward the sea. Now everything is set, just waiting on the tide. After the water rises for a while, Mike drives up in his small amphibious boat. The water still isn't deep enough, but he won't wait. He tries towing to swing it free. Before this, it only towed wooden crates, so no one knows if it'll work. As the small boat creeps forward, the rope goes tight, then the hull starts creaking. The little boat is giving it everything, but the fishing boat won't budge. Clearly this way won't work. To get help, he doesn't hesitate to buy 3 fuel drums. First they haul the fuel ashore, then they start the recovery. The towboat has serious power. Mike has high hopes, but the result is still unexpected. The fishing boat still won't move. Mike tells his friends to stop. He wedges a few more float bags under the hull, then goes for a second try. This time, it finally works. The boat jerks free and drops hard into the water. Mike lets out a long breath, relieved the hull is off the sand. He uses his small boat to tow the fishing boat forward. But right then the tide starts falling. Mike sees the water dropping fast, and now it's a race against time. If he misses this window, he'll wait another 12 hours, and a big storm is coming tonight. So Mike speeds up and quietly prays, maybe luck is still with him, because he finally reaches the lake entrance. But the trouble keeps coming. The water here is too shallow. The boat could run aground again. Luckily, Mike's small boat is built for this. He drops the wheels, turning it into a 3-wheel rig on land, then drags the fishing boat as far onto shore as he can. Once it looks stable, he stops and drops a heavy anchor to lock it down. Now he can go home easy. The fishing boat stays here, waiting for visitors. A few days later, the sea is calm and the weather is clear. Mike heads out to relax. Then he hunts a few water birds to change things up, because eating goat meat every day gets old. Kodiak Island is home to tons of bird species, so Mike hopes to bag a wild duck for dinner. Even though there are lots of water birds along the shore, he can't just drive the boat straight at them. Local rules ban using a boat to scare or run over birds, so he anchors upwind, then walks in to close the distance. Before he can even act, the flock panics and blasts into the air. It's a wild sight. Mike can only sigh and watch his meal fly away, but he doesn't quit. He keeps patrolling, trying not to waste this rare stretch of good weather. He beaches the boat and starts walking the shoreline. Once things quiet down, he spots a flock of geese. Mike sneaks in, but they still catch him. He takes the shot and finally drops one. It's hit, but not dead, and it tries to swim out to deep water. Mike's face tightens. He jumps in the boat and goes after it. He can't let a bird that close get away. He keeps scanning with binoculars, but only sees a few seabirds passing by. The wounded bird is gone. A bad feeling hits him. He won't accept it. He searches around, and sure enough, he finds it. The goose is still alive. Mike finishes it with a follow-up shot. It's an emperor goose, a good-looking bird, and the meat is very tender, one of the top meals you can get from wild birds. But because they're limited, each season Mike is only allowed one. Even so, he stretches it out and enjoys it over a few meals. Now he can't wait, so he heads back fast. By late afternoon, he's back at camp. He pulls the emperor goose from his pack and starts cleaning it. Bear season is coming up, so Mike is about to get very busy. This is the key window to stock up on food. The breast is his favorite cut, and this emperor goose is no different. The rest he'll portion out and eat over the next few days. After rinsing it clean, he drops it into a pot, then adds noodles and seasoning to make a hot, rich noodle soup. Mashed to round out the flavor, he throws in mushrooms and onions, then simmers low. Minute by minute, the smell fills the pot. Mike scoops a bowl and digs in. It's still hot, but the taste is unreal. The noodles are springy, the seasoning is just right. For him, this is the perfect meal. When warm spring finally returns, the long-awaited bear season arrives. Over 3,000 brown bears wake up on the island after hibernation, and Mike dives back into non-stop work. Brown bears are extremely aggressive. Some even prey on younger bears. So hunting, done the right way, can help the population. This year, Mike gets lucky and draws a tag that lets him hunt directly. Before he heads out, he has to prep hard because this place is remote, ammo is hard to buy, so Mike buys components and reloads his own rounds. He measures the powder down to the milligram, then pours it into the casing. After that, he uses a press to seat the bullet, and that's one round finished. After that, he makes every round as consistent as possible. This time Mike plans to bring 2 rifles, so he needs to test their accuracy. He heads out to the beach, loads up, and fires 2 quick shots at a distant target, then walks up to check. Both holes are right where he wants them. Mike is satisfied. Then he grabs the other rifle. It's his main gun, so it barely needs any adjustment. Now he's ready to head out and hunt. He packs heavy and moves toward the area with his loyal hunting dogs. Steep mountains rise on both sides ahead, and he's entering brown bear country. Mike walks and scans, looking for luck for today. After waking up from hibernation, brown bears often hit the beach to feed. Mike wants a flat spot nearby to set camp, and he's ready to wait about 2 weeks until the right bear shows up. The place in front of him is perfect. A creek runs down the slope, and so fresh water is covered, the scenery looks like a postcard. Mike sets up his tent fast and spots a plant called cow parsnip, one of the main foods for brown bears. In a few days, this whole hillside will turn green, bright, and thick. Then he starts glassing the area, watching both slopes closely. Before long, he spots a brown bear, but it's a female, so local rules say no hunting. Mike keeps searching, hoping to find a fully mature bear he can take. Soon he spots a bear on the beach. To see it better, Mike eases closer and moves in slow. His pace is careful, because they could meet face to face any second. Mike holds his breath, checking the sex. And he's right. It's a big, mature bear. He decides to take it. To drop it with one shot, he needs it inside 50 meters. And the bear still hasn't noticed the danger closing in. Mike's heart starts pounding. But right then, the bear stops, like it smells something off. Then it turns and slips into the shadows. Mike stays still and plays the mind game, and his read is right. The bear suddenly bolts at full speed. Missing that chance hurts. Oh, and Mike heads back to camp, frustrated. A week goes by, and he still hasn't found a bear he wants, so today he widens his patrol area. On the way, he finds fresh bear sign and raises his binoculars. On the hillside, a mother bear is leading 3 cubs. Raising 3 at once is pretty rare, so Mike watches a little longer, then keeps moving. He sits on the beach and watches, and this time he finally gets a hit. A massive brown bear steps into view with huge, wide hips, a clear sign of a full-grown boar. This is exactly what Mike has been waiting for. He moves right away. No hesitation, he swings wide to get ahead and cut it off. The terrain is brutal along the way, but that hunger inside gives him the guts to push through everything, even if it costs him a leg. Even if he breaks it, he won't hesitate. No idea why, but a hard wind kicks up on the mountain. Mike stands by the cliff, heart hammering. He can't even look down, but the bow is already drawn. He has to finish this life or death gamble. But after all that effort, he finally makes it safely onto the beach. A lot of time has passed, so the bear could be long gone. Now it's all down to Mike's luck. A bunch of seabirds are gathered on the shore, screaming nonstop. Experience tells him to look that way. And there it is, the brown bear he's been waiting for. He moves in quietly. The bear is head down, eating seafood by the water. It's not very alert right now, but Mike stays careful. He crawls in and kneels under a big tree. Like, this range is perfect. Mike sets the rifle and the bear keeps coming closer. The moment it stops, Mike fires. The shot blasts and the seabirds explode into the air, wings everywhere, and the giant beast drops to the sand. Mike walks in slow, not relaxing for a second. To be sure it's really done, he picks up a rock and throws it. No movement, only then does Mike lower his rifle and carefully take in the prize. Right now it feels like a dream. He really dropped a top-tier brown bear, one of the biggest moments of his life. For Mike, from sharp teeth to thick, powerful paws, everything becomes a valuable trophy. Now he can take that win back home. Is this the wildlife you've always wanted? Need meat? Just head out. Hunt moose. One can weigh over 1,500 pounds. But for lunch, there's fresh meat from livestock too. When you've got downtime, you rebuild an off-road rig to kill time and live free. Out in the backcountry, the Susitna River Valley in Alaska is packed with fish and wild game. Mata and Eli are hunters assigned by the Athabascan tribe, one of Alaska's oldest native communities. This time, they need to bring in 2,500 pounds of meat to get the tribe through the long winter. The 2 of them arrived here 2 days ago and set up a main camp. For the next 3 weeks, they'll live here until they take enough game, but so far they haven't gotten anything. They climb a small hill to get higher and glass for sign. It's caribou migration season. Big herds are moving south, and that's their target. There are plenty of them, but timing is everything. If they miss the migration, it's hard to find them again. Luck hits. They spot two caribou traveling alone. Maybe they broke off while chasing a mate, but the distance is still outside shooting range, so they have to get closer. Caribou are extremely alert. To avoid spooking them, they creep forward and see the two still standing there, not moving. And they drop their packs to move lighter. Once in range, they set up and look through an 8x scope. They signal, one male, one female, then steady their breathing and adjust the angle. Eli's daughter fires first, and the female staggers in place, immediately locks onto the confused male, and squeezes the trigger. Just as expected, both caribou are hit. Then they walk in to check their take. Each one can yield close to 200 pounds of meat, but with only 2 women, they can't handle it alone. Night falls fast. They drive the ATV up to the animals, but a big pool of water blocks the way. Eli tests the depth. It's still manageable, and Mata is a mechanic who once served in the U.S. Navy SEALs, so she's modified this rig's clearance to handle rough ground. After fighting through it all, they finally reach the site. But at night, brown bears and gray wolves are most active. The brush is thick and dangerous, so they load the caribou onto the ATV and haul them back to camp to process. 10 days go by. Since that caribou hunt, they don't see another one. The season is down to the last goal, and time won't wait, so they're forced to change strategy. Moose live here year-round, 3 times bigger than caribou, and one animal can give over 1,000 pounds of meat. Only a giant like that can give them a shot at the 2,000-pound quota they need. Moose usually live in swampy ground, so getting close won't be easy, but they roll out right away. Alaska's terrain is rough and unforgiving. Luckily, their modified off-road rig lets them cross ridges and streams, but the rig pays a price. One rear tire blows out. Doesn't waste time and swaps in the spare. Each tire weighs over 200 pounds, so they can't lift it by hand. They rig a simple pulley setup, use the winch to hoist the tire, then lower it down slow. Then they jack the rig up. Mata works the lug wrench, bolt by bolt, and together they pull the wheel off and mount the spare. Once it's lined up, they tighten everything down. But it's not over. They still have to hang the blown tire back on the rack. After finishing, they get moving again. Out in the endless Alaska forest, their rig looks tiny. They push toward the target, but hit their biggest problem yet. Days of rain turn the mud holes into waterlogged traps, and they're out of spare tires. So they crawl forward, nerves tight, and sure enough, the rig sinks into the mud. Now it's winch or nothing. There's no big tree around, so they use a steel ground anchor as the tie-off point. Mata fires up the winch, and once the anchor bites deep, the rig starts to crawl out. Mata drives it inch by inch and finally climbs free of the bog. After that, the road gets easier, they make it safely into moose country, and quickly set up shelter. They rest for the night, then hunt in the morning. Next morning, Mata pulls out a traditional native knife with a moose antler handle and a sharp steel blade. Turns out it's Eli's 13th birthday, and Mata made this knife as a gift. Eli hugs her mom, emotional, then they get to work. Their goal is a fully grown moose. They pack their gear and move while scanning. Moose are huge, but they love to hide in thick brush, so they're hard to spot. After a careful search, they spot one, but can't tell the sex, and the law only allows them to take a bull. So they track it. Eli uses an 8x scope and confirms it's a cow. They're disappointed, but keep searching. Where there are cows, bulls often show up. A full-grown bull can weigh up to 1,500 pounds, enough to feed the whole tribe. Night is falling, and still nothing. Just as they're about to head back, Mata spots a target. It looks like a mature bull, but it slips into the trees fast. They split up from 2 sides to raise their odds. They move slow, because moose are known to be aggressive and will charge if you push in. Not long after, Mata sees the target again and snaps her rifle up. The moose shows half its body. She fires, then chambers another round. It stumbles up and limps away. Mata follows and shoots again when she gets a clean chance, dropping it for good. For safety, she keeps the rifle up as she walks in and confirms it's dead. Only then does she lower the gun and gently stroke it, thanking the animal for its sacrifice. When night falls, Mata drives the ATV and drags the moose out to open ground. When they pitch a quick shelter under headlamps as light rain keeps falling, so the meat stays clean, then they start butchering. They know it'll be a sleepless night, but both of them are full of joy. Next morning, they drive back toward base. They've hit this year's goal, and they need to reach the tribe before the meat spoils. The elders are waiting for fresh meat to cook. The rough mountain road shakes the rig hard. Even upgraded, hauling that much weight is risky. On a downhill stretch, the rig makes a sharp crack. Mata tenses up, hoping it's a false alarm, but the brakes suddenly fail and the rig rockets out of control. Mata can only clamp the wheel with both hands in a life-or-death moment where death could hit at any second. Maybe the ancestors were watching because the rig finally stops safely and they truly feel what it means to survive a crash. Mata gets out to check. At first glance, nothing looks wrong, but when she moves to the rear, kneels down and looks closer, she finds brake fluid leaking nonstop from a line. Looks like the brakes are shot, and they have no parts to replace it, so they dump their packs and dig for tools to patch it. A pair of pliers and electrical tape gives Mata an idea. She clamps the pliers tight just before the damaged spot to stop the flow of brake fluid. She sacrifices one wheel to keep the other 3 working normally. Then she tops off the brake fluid and tests it by crawling under the rig, watching while Eli presses the brake to confirm the system still holds. They keep moving, and luckily the rest of the route goes smooth. They make it back to base camp late, so they spend one more night out in the wild. The moose meat is hung on a rack, waiting to be hauled back to the tribe the next day. Before leaving, they perform an important ritual, because this year the tribe lost an elder, Eli's grandfather. By tradition, they pray his spirit will follow in the footsteps of the ancestors. They roam the endless Alaskan backcountry, the best resting place for hunters. Sometime later, Mata buys for cheap an 8-wheeled rig and starts fixing it up, hoping to bring it back to its best shape. Because the mother and daughter are tribe-appointed hunters tasked with supplying meat, so the rig has to handle solid ground, swamp, and snow. Mata rolls it into the garage to check for hidden risks. They inspect the 2 track kits meant for snow travel to see if anything is out of line. She eases the rig back until the first wheel sits right. Off then gives it a light throttle and stops at the end of the groove. Everything looks fine. They wrap the chains around the wheels into a closed loop, then lock them down with a metal bar. They do the same on the other side. One side is a bit short, so they crank down a ratchet strap to pin the latch tight. Now the 8-wheeler officially becomes a snow rig. They take it outside for a test run, back it out of the garage, and swing it around in a smooth drift. Mata feels the steering is easy and under full control, so she decides to hit the woods and test mountain trails. The rig can top out at 20 miles an hour. Deep snow doesn't slow it down. It actually makes Mata even more fired up, because with this rig, they can go anywhere in the backcountry. But the fun doesn't last long. Trouble hits when the rig slips on a steep grade, and they can't move forward or back. Mata frowns and tells her daughter to hop out and check. They find the cause. The track chain is too loose, so the friction isn't enough. Mata pulls out an air pump and tops off each tire. Maybe the cold dropped the pressure and let the chain slack off. Once the tires firm up, the chain tightens with them. The issue is fixed, and they roll on. Driving it feels like a mini tank, just missing the cannon. Now Mata and her daughter Eli are headed to the hunting grounds. The snow-covered wild looks unreal, but the 8-wheeler's engine noise shatters the silence. The rig bucks and charges ahead, and they're both pumped, not knowing danger is waiting. Ahead is a river that hasn't fully frozen. They stop to judge the risk and see breaks along the bank, with lots of undercut spots. If they drop in, climbing out will be hard. Mata maps a line, and to be safe she tells Eli to wait on the far bank while she crosses alone. The rig surges and climbs the far side, but it comes up short and hangs on the slope. Mata floors it and forces the rig up safely. Eli watches, grinning, as the 8-wheeler proves its worth. Then they gun it toward the hunting grounds. Before long, snow starts falling, and they stop and spot clear moose tracks in the powder. Sharp and fresh across the snow, they likely came to the creek to drink, so this direction is right. That means they've entered moose territory. They're highly territorial and usually stay inside their home range. In the brush, they also spot more fresh browse marks. More proof a moose is living here for sure. Then they push deeper. Based on what the tribal elders told them, that deeper in there's a valley where the herd lives, but since their food stores are already enough, they have no plan to hunt. They only mark this area for next fall, to turn it into a new hunting ground. The terrain is brutal, but with the 8-wheeler helping and with full effort, they finally climb up onto a high ridge. Right ahead is the legendary valley. They drive slow and scan every angle. Suddenly, Eli yells when she spots a moose. To avoid spooking it, they kill the engine and realize it's an adult cow, healthy, strong, and beautiful. That's a great sign, showing this valley is prime moose habitat, so the two head back, fully satisfied. Not long after, Mata buys a nearly new pickup as a gift for her daughter, as Eli is close to turning 14 and can start working toward a license. But to conquer the Alaskan wild, the truck needs upgrades. First, swap the suspension and tires. With her military mechanic skills, Mata makes it look easy, jacking it up so Eli can pull the old tires. Since they're tribe-appointed hunters, they need a rig strong enough to reach hard country and bring back more game. The old leaf springs are weak and rusted, so Mata sprays anti-rust to loosen the bolts. When they compare old and new, the difference is obvious to the naked eye. She installs the new springs and patiently teaches her daughter to do it herself. She wants Eli to lock in these skills. Before mounting the huge tires, the truck also needs an upgrade to the driveline that sends power to the wheels. Then, they set the old and new tires side by side, and only then see how big the gap is. Each tire weighs about 60 kilos, with deep tread for serious grip. Mata lines it up and mounts the wheel, then tightens the bolts until it clicks, and they repeat for the other 3 wheels. Next comes the test drive to check traction and shock control. Over big rocks and side slopes, it clears everything with ease, making the 2 of them fall in love with it. They're hyped for the next hunting season. More after some time, they reach a seaport where raw beauty blends with modern tech on the southern Alaska coast. Eli is descended from an ancient people, and when the season ends, Mata takes her daughter to explore their homeland, the land where the Tlingit began. Tlingit, a name meaning people of the tides, their ancestors, they are native people who live along the coast. They mostly live off seafood, including big halibut and all kinds of shellfish. Now, the 2 of them look for a campsite, quickly pitching a tent by the beach, then heading out to gather food. The Tlingit are great at harvesting shellfish and turning them into good meals. The best time to harvest is at low tide. They use special tools to dig in the sand, and the method works fast. Before long, Mata pulls up the first geoduck clam, then Eli finds one too. It's a fun process, but they can't drop their guard, because in the wild, dangerous predators can show up anytime. Martha reminds her daughter to always watch each other's backs. Early spring by the coast is when brown bears wake up from hibernation. They're starving and ready to attack anything they run into. Time passes, and the 2 of them gather enough geoduck clams. Martha starts cooking, she shells them all, then stir-fries the meat in moose fat. At the same time, Ellie works on the shells to make a traditional handmade decoration. Mata loves the scene more than anything, because Ellie is living the way their ancestors did, and that matters for her growth. A few minutes later, the food is done, and Ellie makes it back. The whole camp fills with the smell of hot food. Eli can't help it. She takes a bite, and the flavor is unreal. Before long, they finish the whole lunch. Then Mata pulls out a gift she's saved for a long time, a blanket made from moose hide, rich with Tlingit identity. She suggests Eli line shells around the patterns so it sparkles in the sun and stands out from far away. Eli uses animal sinew as thread and soaks it soft, while Mata sews the shells onto the blanket. Soon, the work is done, and the blanket turns out beautiful. Eli throws it over her shoulders, glowing like a wind spirit. In that moment, she earns the ancestors' blessing and becomes a real Tlingit kid. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our next exciting survival videos. Finally, share your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next adventure.